April 6th, 2003, just outside Baghdad, a sandstorm has swallowed the battlefield. On the ground, an American armored task force is pinned, running out of ammo, running out of time. If the Iraqis cross Muthanna Bridge, the assault on Baghdad could collapse. And racing through the storm are 2 Warthogs. Only 2, on the ground. The battle for Baghdad's gates had reached a breaking point. The Muthanna Bridge, one of the last crossings over the Tigris, was more than just steel and concrete. If the Republican Guard held it, the American spearhead would stall. If they lost it, the road into Baghdad lay wide open. Task Force 269, Armor of the U.S. 3rd Infantry Division had been fighting for hours, their M1A1 Abrams fortresses of steel. With Chobham armor, nearly impervious to Iraqi fire, still held the line. Alongside them, M2 Bradley fighting vehicles spat 25mm shells and Tau missiles. But ammunition was running low. Crews were exhausted, pinned down by relentless fire from the Hammurabi Division's T-72 tanks and BMP infantry carriers. They knew if Iraqi forces crossed the bridge, the task force would be crushed. The 1st Hammurabi Republican Guard Armored Division brought Soviet steel to bear. T-72 tanks lethal, but outclassed by Abrams, still fired across the river with their 125mm smoothbores. Their weakness was above, thin turret roofs, vulnerable to attack from the sky. BMP carriers pushed forward, disgorging squads of infantry armed with RPGs, and behind them, Iraq's air defenses awoke 23mm guns, both static and mounted on Shilka vehicles, pouring streams of tracers into the storm, lurking among the rubble. Man-pads, portable missiles like the SA-7 and SA-14, waited for any low-flying jet to stray too close.
Donk, this is Billy Bob, this is Coke. We're under heavy fire at the Muthanna Bridge. If they cross, we're finished. We need you now, right now.
On the ground, First Lieutenant John Coke Blocker wasn't just another officer with a radio. He was an A-10 pilot himself, temporarily serving as a forward air controller. Coke knew what the Warthogs could do. He had seen GAU-8 shells shred tanks, Maverick missiles obliterate bunkers. If anyone could stop the Hammurabi Division, it was his friends in the sky. Above him, Lieutenant Colonel Raymond Donk Strasburger and Captain Greg Billy Bob Thornton circled in their A-10 Thunderbolts, known to soldiers as the Warthog, or simply the Hog. The aircraft was built for this moment, designed to fly low and slow, with straight wings for maximum lift, titanium armor wrapped around the cockpit like a bathtub to shield the pilot from 23mm fire. The engines sat high, protected from ground fire and sand ingestion. Every inch of the A-10 was engineered for survival in the deadliest skies. Its weapons were fearsome. The GAU-8 Avenger, a 7-barreled 30mm rotary cannon, firing nearly 900 rounds a minute, could pierce tank armor like paper. AGM-65 Maverick missiles gave the Warthog precision reach, while rockets and bombs provided flexible firepower. In the storm above Baghdad, Donk and Billy Bob carried all of it. But what mattered most wasn't the weapons. It was their willingness to dive headlong into fire. Ready?
Let's get some doing it. Yeah.
The 2 Warthogs flipped inverted and dove into the storm. Visibility dropped below safe limits. Every instrument screamed caution, but on the ground, their brothers were out of time.
Damn it. Rockets are dead.
Worse enemy guns were waiting. The 23mm cannons of Iraq's Shilkas roared to life. Green tracers arced through the storm, ripping past the canopy. For the first time, Donk and Billy Bob were face to face with Baghdad's teeth.
Confirmed. No friendlies east of the bridge. You are cleared to engage.
You are cleared hot. Below them, Abrams and Bradleys hunkered down, holding the line. Above them, 2 Warthogs dove headlong into fire. This was the first contact, and already, survival hung by a thread. The Warthogs pressed lower, into a storm no pilot should enter. Baghdad's skyline blurred in the haze. Somewhere ahead lay the Muthanna Bridge and a task force on the brink of destruction.
Donk, they're crossing. T-72s on the east slope, we're out of time.
Through the storm, Donk found his mark, a BMP charging toward the bridge. The GAU-8 Avenger roared to life, spitting depleted uranium shells at nearly 4,000 rounds a minute.
Lost the ballistic computer. Going manual.
Donk was blind to precision. All he had left was the iron crosshair, an aim almost as old as air combat itself.
D-Mob 7-2, hot fire.
Thornton's rounds ripped through Soviet steel like paper. The T-72 erupted, its advance shattered.
Nice shot, but the armored vehicles are pushing. Missile! That was close, damn.
A foot closer, and Billy Bob would have been gone. In the storm, even death came unseen.
Flight intel like 2 full lights, safe. For fuel bingo in 5 minutes, we'll stretch it, but not for long.
Their fuel was draining. Stay too long, and they'd never make it back. Leave now, and the bridge would fall. The math was unforgiving.
Maverick, go.
The Maverick slammed down like a hammer of the gods. Another armored threat erased from the fight.
Donk, you're locked on. Take it out. Keep the bridge.
Coke was fighting 2 wars at once, rifle in hand against infantry, radio in hand, guiding the skies. His voice was the thread binding air and ground. Minutes stretched like hours. The sandstorm turned day into night, tracers into lightning, but the bridge still stood, and so did the Warthogs.
You guys are saving our asses. Keep firing. Don't let them cross.
In the fire, in the fight for Baghdad, 2 Warthogs had become the thin line between survival and annihilation. The fight for Muthanna Bridge had become a knife's edge. The sandstorm raged. Iraqi armor still pressed forward. And the last line of defense, the Warthogs were running out of fuel, out of options, and almost out of time. The Hammurabi division refused to break. Their Shilka batteries stitched the sky with tracers. Supply trucks pushed forward with more ammunition. If the bridge fell now, Task Force 2-69 would be swallowed whole.
Hot fire. Target the supply trucks.
Thornton tore into the supply line. Ammunition trucks erupted in secondary explosions, lighting the storm like fireworks. Without supplies, the Iraqi attack began to unravel. Locked, rifle.
Fire.
The Maverick struck like a thunderbolt. Another armored spearhead erased us. The bridge still stood, but the storm wasn't the deadliest threat the Shilkas were. Their quadruple barrels spewed death into the haze. One hit, and either Warthog would never return. I'm taking fire tracers right off my wing.
Those guns are tearing us apart. Take them out now.
They silenced the Shilkas. The storm, lit with fire, then fell eerily quiet. For the first time, the skies above Muthanna Bridge belonged to the Warthogs. The loss of armor, supplies, and air defense broke the Hammurabi division's will. Their attack faltered. Their infantry melted back into the ruins. The bridge Baghdad's gate remained in American hands. Enemy is pulling back.
Enemy's
Donk,
retreating.
Billy Bob,
Donk,
you
Billy
did
Bob,
it.
you did it.
You saved us.
Coke, we're bingo on fuel. Second bird's inbound to take over. When we get back, drinks on me. Copy that, brothers. First round's on me.
Drinks are on me. After 40 minutes of hell, the Warthogs broke away, battered but unscathed. Below them, every Abrams and Bradley of Task Force 2-69 still stood. The bridge was secure. Baghdad's fall was now only days away.
You're making battalion and company commanders very happy right now. When this is over, drinks are on me.
For 40 minutes, 2 Warthogs had stood between life and death, against tanks, BMPs, Shilkas, and a storm itself. They never faltered, and when it was over, Task Force 2-69 still held the bridge. Not a single Abrams or Bradley was lost. Lieutenant Colonel Raymond Donk, Strasburger, and Captain Greg Billy Bob Thornton were awarded the Silver Star for their valor in the skies over Baghdad. First Lieutenant John Coke, Blocker A-10 pilot turned forward air controller on the ground, received the Bronze Star and the Air Force Commendation Medal of Valor. In the storm over Baghdad, 2 Warthogs proved why the A-10 is more than a machine. It is a guardian angel, a symbol of American grit, and a promise etched into steel and sacrifice. No soldier fights alone. No soldier fights alone.